Hi everyone, welcome back to day 5. So today is going to be a very short video and we're going to talk about launching your website. There's 2 things that you want to take into account when launching your website. We need to remove the password protection from the site, and then we also need to change the domain so that we can use our custom domain instead of this one that's automatically generated by Shopify. So here you're going to come over to online store on the left hand side, and I believe this is the first time that we've dove into online store here. We actually went into it for themes, but it's the first time we're going into domain and preferences as well. So the first thing you want to do is disable your password. As soon as you click on online store, you'll see that there is a notice to disable your password here. So Shopify will definitely remind you if you've kept your password on, because they want to encourage people to be able to find your store. To be able to disable password, you can go ahead and click that button, or where you'll also find it is in preferences down here. You can go ahead and scroll all the way to the bottom and you'll see that password is enabled right now. We can only disable that once you've picked a plan and set up your billing information. As soon as you've done that and you're ready to go, disable the password and make sure you save your page and you're good to go. As far as the preferences page, this is also something you're going to want to update before you go live also. The homepage title is what's going to show up in search engines for you, as well as the homepage meta description. So that should not only be a description of your homepage, but should be a description of what your overall shop is about as well too, to entice people to click. We do have the ability to add a social sharing image, which means when people share your URL to any social media, this is the image that will show up. And then the page title, URL, and the description, meaning these items up here, is what's going to show up as the preview. You can go ahead and click add image or drag and drop any image here. Just make sure you go by the recommended guidelines for the size of that image. Now for Google Analytics, this is a little bit more complicated to set up, so we're not going into it in this video, but it's basically a small snippet of code that gets placed in this box here, and that tracks everything on your site. After it's placed in this box, Shopify goes ahead and attaches that to every single page, so you're able to track all of your visitor activity through your Google Analytics account too. The Facebook pixel works in a similar way in that it is also a snippet of code that's injected into your website that allows users to be tracked, to be able to be redirected for audiences for promotional purposes. We also have some privacy settings here. Please check your local laws for the privacy settings so that you can remain GDPR and CCPA compliant as well. That's what covers the preferences page. We're also going to look into domains here. So this is where you get to change your domain. There's going to be 3 options in the top right here for you. So you're going to see connect existing domain. What this means is if you have a URL that you've registered, say with GoDaddy or with Namecheap or with someone else, an external party, and you want to connect that to your site. So you've purchased it somewhere else, but you want to use that domain that you've purchased through another service. We can also do transfer domain, which is similar, but instead of just connecting it from a different service and pulling it in, you're actually transferring the entire domain over to Shopify. There's a few reasons to do this. If you no longer want to be affiliated with your domain registrar or trying to cut down on the amount of different softwares and logins you're using, a lot of people like to consolidate their domains into one place, so that's a possibility. You can also buy a new domain too. I'll click on that to show you. So Shopify now has its own marketplace that is able to sell you domains through their marketplace. It's pretty on par with the rest of the pricing that's out there. So if you do not have a domain yet, I'd highly recommend doing it this way. It's an extremely easy setup. And as soon as you look for and purchase your domain, you're able to sync it up seamlessly with your website. If it's done through a third-party company, which these 2 are here, there's one more step that's included. So the most common one would be connect existing domain. So if you go ahead and click on that, you would go and put in your domain here. So let's put in Gratitude Pack, and I'd go ahead and click next. And then connecting your domain, it allows you to view instructions. This is going to bring you off site. So it's going to open up a tutorial that Shopify's created specifically on hooking up domains using a third-party company. Highly recommend checking out this tutorial. It's constantly updated with their internal procedures, their internal setup. So it's going to be the most up-to-date resource that you can find to be able to connect your third-party domains. There's literally hundreds of different domain registrars out there. So it's virtually impossible for us to do a tutorial on every single one, but just know that it's only a few clicks away. And basically what you're doing, I'll try to explain in a nutshell. Basically what you're doing is you're changing the DNS. What the DNS is a domain name system. I'm also going to include a link to this great video here as well, where they do a great job explaining what DNS is in less than 2 minutes. So if you want to dive a little bit deeper, but it's a domain name system that is set up for us to make a human readable name. So we can see up here that we've got this long Shopify domain that's not branded, and it's branded for Shopify. It's not branded for us. It's not a small and memorable domain, and it's not one that we've already purchased. Now behind this domain, there's going to be one that's even more complex called an IP address. That's a series of numbers and periods that basically gives you the coordinates to where your website lives on the internet. Now, nobody wants to memorize 9 different numbers and a bunch of different period placements for coordinates, so we want an easy human readable name that will bring you to that website. And that's what a domain name ultimately is. So we want to take wherever our domain name has been purchased, whether it's GoDaddy or Namecheap or Domainer, and we want to use this as our new address for those coordinates. So as soon as you've gone through the hookup instructions, it's going to ask you to do a couple things in that process. You'll have to sign into your domain registrar, so make sure you know your login information there. And then it's going to ask you to go into the DNS screen, and there will be some changes that will either happen automatically or it will give you specific changes to add into that DNS screen. It takes you through step-by-step, so you'll be able to get exact directions on what to fill out. As soon as you save that, it's just a few clicks away. It will bring you back here. You'll verify the connection. As soon as that's done, you'll see your brand new domain in here. It takes 5 to 10 minutes. It also goes through security checks and assurances to assign an SSL certificate to it. Basically what that means, it gives an extra layer of encryption and protection to your site, especially being an e-commerce site. We want to protect people's shopping experience and payment information. So it does take care of that process for you. Can take 20 to 30 minutes. However, some of these changes can take up to 48 hours. I've never experienced it taking that long. Usually within an hour or so, you'll see your site up on the final domain. Great. So that's it. That's it, top to bottom, front to back, for the whole Shopify crash course experience. Come back tomorrow because I know there's 3 more things that we didn't cover: pages, navigation, and blog posts. We're going to whip through those in a few minutes tomorrow. Thanks so much, guys.